If I did that, I'd be in prison. That guy would be dead. I'd feel a little bit better for a little while. But would it really fix the problem? Yes, that guy needs to go to jail. So when you have unbridled sexual energy, it can create massive destruction in your life and others. Violence is a last resort, but I'm really good at it. Welcome to another episode of the Liberating Humanity podcast. I'm Paul Hutchinson, your host. This will be one of the most emotionally charged podcasts I have ever done for me. I'm going to talk about my past, the relationships in my past, and some incredibly devastating news that I have received this week, and other devastating news I received many, many years ago that completely crushed me. A lot of people wonder why I have been so passionate about fighting child trafficking. It's because I've had family members, very, very close family members, that went through the unthinkable. And I'll talk about that and when I found out about it, how it affected me. But first of all, I want to talk about what I found out this week. My ex-wife. Now, I've had a couple ex-wives. My first one, Tiffany, what a beautiful, wonderful human being. Brought me 3 beautiful boys. Has a heart of gold. I got divorced many years ago. I got married only for a short time, less than a year. And that second marriage was filled with a lot of challenges. I was in a dark place. I was searching for fulfillment in ways that were not healthy. You guys have heard me talk about this a lot, where we were, had parties at our house with, a lot of wealthy people, a bunch of celebrities and athletes, and parties with a lot of girls there, etc. We never did anything illegal. We never did anything that the average person wouldn't think, oh, that's kind of cool. You had big parties with lots of girls there and whatever. The problem is, like I've said many, many times, is that when you are living your life with any degree of lust, arrogance, and greed, you go down a dark road. At the time, about 8 years ago, I was very, very close friends with the founder of the original foundation that I had worked with in identifying child trafficking and rescuing the kids. And this is where my second marriage was in place. Well, we've been divorced many years now. However, I found out this week that ex-wife has been sentenced to prison for the unthinkable. The very thing that I have dedicated my life to fighting. And it's made me reflect on so many things. One of them was many, many years ago when I found out that some very close family members had been abused by another family member in their childhood. And it wrecked me. It wrecked me because I thought, why didn't I see that? Why didn't I keep that person away from these special people in my life? They were they still are, some of the most important people in my life. And for me to imagine them being abused as children, It was almost more than I could bear. I remember talking to a friend of mine right after I found out. He was a Green Beret, had led hundreds of missions in Afghanistan and Iraq and other places, securing the freedom for you and I. He actually has a shirt that I ended up getting one just like his, and it said, violence is a last resort, but I'm really good at it. And I told him, I said, what would you do if you found out that he had some beautiful little daughters? I said, what would you find out? What would you do if you found out that one of your daughters or one of your sisters or somebody really close to you was sexually abused as a child by this other family member? What would you do if you found that out today? And he immediately said, I'd kill him. I'd kill him. I would not put up with that. He's wasting my oxygen. And we were just boarding an airplane at the time. And we were sitting in different places of the plane. And after we deboarded, we were walking together. And he said, Paul, he said, I've spent the last 3 hours thinking about what you said, what you just found out happened in your family. And my immediate reaction that I would just kill him. He said, I've realized that, if I did that, I'd be in prison. That guy would be dead. I'd feel a little bit better for a little while. But would it really fix the problem? Yes, that guy needs to go to jail. We cannot tolerate people taking advantage of innocence in our world. We can't. But the biggest takeaway from that experience, and my biggest takeaway from this week in finding out what happened many years after I divorced my second wife, I asked myself, how many of us are not paying attention to the signs? 30 years ago, when I was oblivious to some of the signs that could have helped me understand what was going on in that child's life. And even 7 or 8 years ago, when I was playing in that energy, so to speak, of arrogance and greed and lust. I was doing a lot of charity work. I wasn't an evil person. I actually, at my parties, I had a representative from the Attorney General's office as a security at all of my parties to ensure that everybody that came was at least 21 years old, because I had an open bar in the basketball gym in the basement. And no, we didn't have orgies at our parties. I think the worst thing that ever happened was body shots on my pool table, right? However, when you have unbridled passions, when you have unbridled sexual energy, it can create massive destruction in your life and others. Now, everybody watching me today has seen pornography. Most of you have. Doesn't mean you're going to become a pedophile. But let me tell you this, guys, even gals, the very second that you take that beautiful woman from a divine feminine to an object, you're going down a dark road. And that dark road leads to sadness. It leads to pain of yourself and other people. I'm a complete open book. I've talked about the crap of my past many times on these podcasts, in hopes that we all can choose to make different decisions. I'm not proud of the open relationship that we had in some of my past relationships. I'm not proud of that at all. I'm not proud of the people who I hurt along the way. I'm deeply sorry. Please forgive me. But I take a look at who I was 8-9 years ago. I was doing good. I was helping with charity stuff. But I associated with some people who were not making healthy choices. My best friend at the time, we were in France. And I remember he came in. Now, he is not my best friend today. In fact, I ended up having to sue him for a couple $1 million and won because he stole massive amounts of money from one of my companies. And you can look it up online. But I remember he came in to my hotel room, super excited to show me a video of him having sex with a prostitute that he had met that day. And instead of me saying, "That is disgusting," I'm like, "Yeah, dude, cool." I remember another friend of mine. He was in a happy marriage, quote unquote. He had 2 beautiful children, a daughter that looked up to him for being a great father, a wife who adores him. And I remember he showed me some pictures of this girl that he was having an affair with, talking about, how they would sneak away and nobody knew but me. And instead of saying, "Brother, you've got a beautiful family. This is disgusting," I actually said, yeah, you go, man. That's awesome. In fact, I'm having a party at my house in a couple weeks. You should come. Bringing a bunch of hot girls. Every one of us, every single day, get to make a choice. We can choose to bridle our passions. We can choose to look at sex as something that is divine. We can choose to stay away from things that are going to pull you down and friends and associates that are not in alignment with your highest and best self. Or you can make a choice that's going to lead to the destruction of your life, the destruction of your marriage, the destruction of the lives of your children. Most people are about 3 bad decisions away from complete destruction in their lives. Example, the decision to look at pornography, the decision to get insanely drunk, the decision to cheat on your wife or your husband. You can destroy everything that you have worked for years to create with one bad decision. Alcohol played a big role in both of those horrific things that happened in my family. People say, "Oh, Paul, you're ripping on alcohol, but you're doing these journey things with psilocybin." Look it up, guys. Look up, just type in danger to self and others and type in alcohol and type in psilocybin. You'll find that at the very, very top of that list, in terms of harm to self and harm to others, the top of the list of every kind of mind-altering thing that you can put into your body, the top of that list is alcohol. Second is crack cocaine, and then heroin, and then regular coke, all these horrific things. Yet we sit here and allow that to put us in a position where we can make very, very poor decisions that harm other people. Everybody needs to take a personal assessment. Look into the mirror and say, who am I? And the decisions that I'm making today, where are they leading me? I made a very conscious decision 6 years ago. That decision was to get a divorce and leave those friends that were choosing lifestyles that were not consistent with the man that I wanted to be. I broke a lot of those ties. Sadly, the ones who continued in the path that they were on are either in jail or have got a divorce, or even worse, where the lives of other people have been destroyed because of their actions. Now, I look back and I say, okay, maybe I could have done more. Maybe if I changed who I was and stayed in that relationship, maybe I could have helped her to fix what she was doing so that she wouldn't go down there. Maybe, I don't know. But here's the thing, guys. You cannot affect the free will of another person. There's one person on this planet that you have full control over. And that's you. That's the person in the mirror. If other people choose to change, wonderful. They can continue on the path that you're on. The friend who showed me the video of him with the prostitute, he has gone down an incredibly dark road. And he stayed friends with some of the others that I cut ties with. And together, they have hurt countless other people. My other friend, who showed me the picture of the girl who he was cheating on his wife with, and I invited him to my party, he and I together, about 6 years ago, made a conscious decision that we would change. And I'm so grateful for the support of good friends that encouraged me to be the best version of me. I've never been happier than I am today. I'm in a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage, where we build each other up. We're not doing stupid sexual things. We're not bringing other people into our relationships. We're both fighting against the evils of this world together. Her name is Ada Vanessa. You can look her up, Hada, Vanessa. She is an amazing person, an amazing soul. And I would not have qualified for a relationship with her, with the man that I was 7, 8 years ago. Yeah, I was doing child rescue missions. I was helping the kids. And as I look back, I've always had a passion for helping children. But I was going to strip clubs. I had sexual relationships outside of my marriage. I was kind of a perv. It served well when I was doing undercover work, because the clean-cut boys who were at church every single week, you could see on their faces the uncomfortable feelings when we were in a strip club connecting with some of the traffickers. This is why I don't go into a lot of the details. I want you to know that yes, indeed, evil is out there. I was there. I led or played a key part in over 70 undercover child rescue missions over a period of 10 years. But the beginning years were what I call the Paul Hutchinson me. This was coming in as, this guy with money and this guy with ego and this guy with lust, and the traffickers are like, yeah, that's our kind of guy, and boom, they would open up the doors and we would crash it down and rescue those kids. But I wasn't in line with the highest and best version of me. I was able to still do child rescue missions after I started to change. But my energy changed. I wasn't in there fighting the kids because of this arrogant ego with lust and greed and everything else. I went in and started tuning in to that still small voice of truth that helped to lead us to where the children were and kept our team safe. So as we move forward, there's probably going to be people out there as they see the newspaper articles and other things like that saying, Paul Hutchinson, executive producer, Sound of Freedom, wife is in prison. Well, no, it was my ex-wife. My second ex-wife. My first ex-wife is an angel. But here's what I want to talk about as well. People think, okay, yeah, you hate her guts, I am disgusted by her actions. Disgusted. I feel pity. I feel hurt for the families that she hurt. But I feel compassion for everybody involved. I hope that she's in a position now where she can heal, where she can ensure that she will never, ever cross that line again. People have asked me many times, they say, actually many times, but I was in a podcast a long time ago, and the interviewer asked me this. He said, Paul, he says, if you were in a room and you had 100 perpetrators and you had 100 traffickers in that room, and you had a choice. You could either have a gun with no retribution, take them all out, or you could have a microphone and they would have to listen to you for the next few hours. I'd be tempted to take the gun. I really would. But I would take that microphone. I would take them into the pit of hell. I would help them see and feel the pain that they were causing in the lives of other people, especially the children. I would make them cry. Now, they're still going to jail. I would ensure that innocence is never hurt again. But it's important that every one of us realize that everything in our past can heal. Things that were done to you and things that you did. We can all step forward into a better version of ourselves. Almost everybody listening to me today, almost everybody, I would dare say everybody listening to me today, has somebody close to you who has either been a victim or a perpetrator of these heinous crimes. The fact that 1 in every 4 women have come forth and admitted that they were abused sexually as children, and 92% of them were from a family member or somebody that the family knew. These weren't kidnapped and taken to Venezuela and raped. This was in your own backyards. This was in your own basements. This was in your own neighborhoods that these things are happening. And if there's that many women who have been through that. Now, that's just the ones that have said something. The average age of somebody talking about their abuse as a child is 52 years old. Most people hold it in and never talk about it. I believe that it's closer to 50% that these kinds of things happened to them as children. Meaning, there's also a very high chance that somebody in your neighborhood, somebody in your family, is also a perpetrator. How do we fix this? This is what's plagued me for over a decade. How do we fix this? I was so driven in those child rescue missions to eradicate child trafficking. So driven to fight this evil so that a child never has to go through that. And then I came to realize after 10 years of undercover rescue missions that we were just fighting fire with fire. And when you're doing that, something already got burned, right? If there's already fire, something already got burned. And in this situation, it was the children. Somehow we needed to prevent that fire before it ever started. Meaning, how do we stop child abuse, sexual abuse, child trafficking? How do we stop that before a child is ever abused? The answer is in everything that I bring up on these podcasts. It's in everything. We have to change how we show up in the world. We have to release ourselves, liberate ourselves from the toxicity of this world, from everything that is leading us down that dark road. And people are listening. Oh, I'll never hurt a child. You know, I might be addicted to alcohol. I might be addicted to pornography. I might be yelling at my wife, but I'd never touch a child. All of these things add to it. All of them. There's a ripple effect to all of our actions. I believe that the ripple effect from my actions 7-8 years ago in being okay with unbridled sexual energy in quote unquote healthy adult settings, I believe that a ripple effect of me not laying down the line early on likely affected the lives of many other people. We all have to look in the mirror, all of us, and say, what do I need to do to release whatever is not serving me, whatever is not in line with my highest and best self, whatever is not in line with God. I think about the pain of my close family members who had endured that trauma. I think about it a lot. And it tears me up inside, wishing that I knew more at the time, wishing that I could have seen it, wishing that I could have stopped it before it ever happened. The only thing I can do now is provide opportunities for people to heal. Those who have been through that pain need the tools to heal. And other people that are out of alignment, it's likely coming from unhealed trauma of their own. And they need to heal as well. They need to liberate themselves from their own childhood trauma, from their addictions to alcohol, from their unbridled sexual passions. They need to liberate themselves from all of those things so that their trauma is never passed on to somebody else, especially a child. I'm not going to ramble on forever on this. I think you know what I'm trying to say. I think I've told this before, but I'm going to tell this story again. This man's sitting on a couch and he's reading the newspaper. And his little boy comes in and says, "Daddy, can we play baseball? Can we go play?" He's like, No, I'm busy. I'm really busy." He's not busy. He's reading the newspaper, right? And the little boy comes in again and is bugging him. And pretty soon the man, he turns the newspaper page and he sees this picture of this map of the world. He has this idea. He tears this map out and he tears it up into little teeny pieces and he throws it on the ground. And he says to his boy, he said, "Hey, you need to learn your geography. Go get some tape, put together that entire map of the world perfectly like it's supposed to be. As soon as you do that, I'll go out and play with you. We'll go play baseball." So about 5 minutes later, the little boy comes back and the map of the world is perfect. Literally everything taped together perfectly. And the dad said, wow, that was quick. How did you do that?" And the little boy turns over the newspaper. He said, "Well, on the other side, there was a picture of a man. I just put that together, and the whole world came together." We spend so much time trying to fix other people and fix the world around us, and so many of us need to look in the mirror and fix that person in the mirror. And ask yourself how you're showing up for your employees, how you're showing up to your family, how you're showing up for yourself. There is a ripple effect of all of our actions. Every single word that you say, every single action that you take can have a positive effect or a negative effect on the world around you. I'm incredibly grateful to my friends who saw me for the man I could be, supported me in my healing journey to the point where it became blatantly clear that I could not continue in the relationships that I had that were toxic in my life. I actually talked to those people. I talked to my wife at the time. I talked to some of my friends who were in that toxic energy. And I told them, this is the path that I'm taking. You should join me. You should start doing some personal development. You should come to some of these transformational healing experiences. It's making the biggest difference in my life. This friend who was showing me the videos of him with the prostitute, he came to one of those, and the facilitator at the end of the night, she told me, she said, "Paul, that man will never change until he hits rock bottom. He is so tied to his toxic life." I even brought my wife at the time to a couple, hoping that she would change as well. Sadly, after I broke those relationships off, some of those people continued down that road. But I am incredibly grateful for the people who saw me, who loved me enough to help me heal, so that I could be in this place today of a beautiful relationship with my children, beautiful relationship with my wife, beautiful relationship with myself, and a beautiful relationship with God. I pray that every one of us can find that divinity within, can release ourselves from everything that is not the highest and best version of you. Repent of those things of the past. Release those things that don't serve you. Choose to heal from any trauma of your past so that you are filled with joy, with happiness, with the ability to help others heal as well. This has been the Liberating Humanity podcast. Please share this with people who could benefit from it. Subscribe to the channel. Together we can help liberate all of humanity. I love you all.